Welcome back. On our last episode, we discovered that the ring and pinion gear here was destroyed. As you can see, we have a couple of teeth missing here, and we have some pretty severe damage on some additional teeth here. And then on our pinion, again, you can see we have a couple of teeth missing. So what we're going to be working on is replacing the ring, the pinion, and the carrier. This carrier is an open diff, and we're going to be switching over to a posi-trac unit. So right now what I'm working on though is when I tore this all apart, I still had the differential housing in the car. However, I can't really work on it properly while it's still in the car. So currently I'm working on disassembling everything to get it out. What that means, come over here. So let me see if I can get some better light on here. So I've completely disassembled the brake on this side, so that I could get the e-brake cable out, and it comes in through this hole here. And you can see that's the cable there. Now to get this out, there's these tangs right here that you have to push in and slide in. I don't really have a good tip for that. I sat here for probably about half an hour struggling with it to get it out. Honestly, combination of tools between pliers, pry bar, or screwdriver. Just work at it till it comes out. Also working on disconnecting the shock absorber. We'll need to come under here and disconnect the lower mount for the leaf spring perch. And then we'll need to disconnect the leaf spring from its rear shackle there. Once we have that disconnected though, we should be able to drop the axle out and continue working on it from there. Now I did also, I replaced these axle bearings maybe about a year or so ago. They're probably fine, but since we're in here replacing everything else, I did get a new set of these, so I'm gonna need to pull these as well and put. All right, we made our trek down to Summit. We've got our new carrier here. You can see it's a limited slip style. Going to replace that open diff there. Get our new ring gear and pinion here. So this factory one here should have been a 273 set, and this here should be a 342. Obviously this is going to suck for a while until I get this overdrive transmission built, but figured if I'm going to be doing this now, I might as well get it done now instead of having to pull this all back apart to redo this. So yeah. Now take all of this, get it on here, and put it back in the car. Alright, got our bearing attached to the carrier here. Now, a lot of videos you watch are going to show you to do this with a press. I don't own a press. I thought about getting one, but really honestly, I don't need to spend the money for just this project, so I didn't get one. What I did instead was I busted out the ball joint press. Thought maybe I could use this to cram it on there. Didn't work, it's too big to fit in here. But you can use a mixture of these cups here and a hammer and kind of encourage them down there onto the carrier a little bit. So they're fully seated though, they're on there. I did it without a press. Next thing I need to see is if I can actually get the bearing onto the pinion here without a press. So that's gonna be the next challenge. Also, be careful. I popped my finger open with the hammer there, or my hand with the hammer. You don't want to do that. It doesn't feel good. This actually hurts really bad, so I'm gonna go take care of this really quick. Okay, so I'm not gonna say that I found the failure here, but I did find something rather peculiar. So when you go to set the depth on the original or the new pinion, you want to use this off the old pinion, this bearing. And what you're supposed to do is kind of hog out the center here so it just slips on and off the new one, that we can keep pulling it in and out. Anyways, I need to get off here. Well, you're not supposed to be able to get these things off of here without a press. I pried it up with no pressure at all with the screwdriver. And this here is what was left of the original shim that was underneath this. So again, I'm not going to say that that was what caused the failure, but it ain't right. Anyways, we're going to get back into figuring out the pinion depth on this thing so we can get it all slammed back together. Alright, we got the rear diff pulled out and I got it covered in some gunk grease remover right now. Just going to clean it up a little bit. Speaking of cleaning up, got some additional parts pulled off here. We're giving them a fresh coat of paint and rust protectant so it'll look all nice and clean. We'll spray down that too once we get the grease cleaned off of it. And here we got the DU bolts and brackets and whatnot that we're painting as well. Alright, on to it. Alright, got the differential cleaned up a little bit here. Got a few coats of paint on. The paint that I'm using is this Krylon Rust Tough Enamel. So it's supposed to be able to just go on over rust. I mean, I did spray some degreaser on this and clean up a lot of the caked on crud, but you don't have to worry about cleaning up the rust. This is supposed to basically adhere to it and deactivate it and prevent it from continuing to rust. So anyways, we're gonna wait for this to dry and then we should be able to slam it back into the car. Alright, we got our carrier installed here. Like I said, I'm not going to do a detailed video on how to install this. There's tons of videos out there that explain this way better than I can. But basic idea is you just want to shim this on both sides and then take a scope, this guy right here. And my instructions for this gear set require 7 to 9 thousandths of an inch backlash. So basically what you do is you mount the scope up so this goes in here and rock it back and forth, and it should only move about 7 to 9 thousandths of an inch before engaging with the pinion gear. Anyways, all that I have left now at this point is to put a little paint on these teeth here and check our pattern. Otherwise we should be good. After that I can throw the cover back on, fill it up, and start the break-in process. Okay, so the paint that came with this kit kind of sucks, but run through a few revolutions here, and you can see on both the drive side and the coast side of the gear, we're getting pretty good coverage, even coverage across the gear. So that tells me that I think we're probably pretty good. So on that note, I think I'm going to button this up and get back together. Alright, so we got everything in the diff bolted back up. Got our tires back on. We're in the home stretch here. All that's left to do is really just crank the car up, put it in gear, and see if the tires spin. Wish me luck. Alright, so we just got back from the test drive, and man, does she pull hard now. Rear end hooks up great. I mean, I could even feel it pulling out from behind me a little bit when I got on it. Whew. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will, now because of this new gear ratio, I will have to get a new gear for the transmission for the Speedo so that it matches up to the proper road speed now. Not a huge issue. You can find calculators online to figure out that. But yeah, other than that, rear end's back together. She can drive again. Oh yeah, no more vibration either. Vibration gone. So that took a while. That was expensive. I'm done.